So I started off Amric Ave. We are in Broadbeach, and the reason why I pulled over is because I saw some really cool light hitting these awesome buildings, which I'm going to show you as we come up to them now, and hopefully we can get a cool shot. So there they are there. I've got the 35mm, so it's going to be pretty wide from this distance, but we'll see if we get a bit closer, because it looks pretty cool. It's like some dark, stormy background. They're already blue with that white finish, and I reckon we can get something out of that. Just quickly sneak in the middle of the road. Don't get run over. Maybe we go for a portrait. Obviously, have to cross the road. Looks like I'm going to have to get into the center of the road, wait until traffic. It's kind of cool. I reckon we do better. Kind of have to be a bit of a exhibitionist to be talking to yourself, video cameraing by yourself out in public, and people are kind of just like, what is he doing? I'm getting bit by bit closer to these buildings, and I'm finding it likely that we're going to get them all in a portrait shot, I think, just because I'm trying to clear up the frame. The frame needs to be clean. From here, look at this. Okay, now that's kind of cool because we got this leading line in there, so I reckon I'm just gonna, you can see that fucking strap is in the way. Is that just me, or does that look a little bit off? Yep, because I tilted the camera. Alright, so pretty much got the shot that I wanted. Whether it's good or not, that's another question entirely. Oh, that's pretty fucking cool. What to shoot? It's the thing with street photography. It's like, you kind of just like, well, for me at least, I should speak for everyone, but when I'm out shooting, it's kind of like a more unconscious, intuitive process. It's like letting things grab your attention that you aren't intentionally looking for. Sometimes you're looking for things like people, places. Other times it's just completely random. So you have some cool buildings down there with some like interesting light. You get some kind of cool liminal aesthetic. But there's a dude down there and there's the beach. So let's go down there. So there's this guy standing, and I got the feeling that's going to make a pretty cool photo. Oh, he's turned around. Thinking about the Gold Coast though, and I don't know if it's just with the lack of tourists because our borders are shut, but there does seem to be quite a lot more, how do I say, unsavory characters getting around. And so street photography, you kind of have to be careful of those dudes because they kind of like don't have much to do, and they see you with a big camera like this. Well, it's not that big, but it's big enough. You sort of are an easy target to occupy them. But this guy just looks like a surfer dude. But as I approach, we have this guy just walking by. So, and totally unconscious shot. Nice, interesting curved yellow line, and he's like walking by. Like, I'm not saying that's a world-class street photography photo, but like it's those kind of just in the moment, have a camera ready and see what happens is really how I've managed to get some of my, what I think are my best shots. You know, when you plan something, it sort of never really goes the way you want it, so maybe it's that, just like unplanned, totally just like flexible with this stuff. I love eggs. I love these stickers on these boxes. They're kind of cool. It's like a bit of street culture. So, could we get composition is a bit lame. I've got the 35 1.8 Nikon Z mount, so I have to get pretty close. But that's kind of cool. If we had someone, like if we sort of like make that the sort of left third of the frame and have some people like maybe walking out of focus, that would be kind of cool, like that. So if I did like that, okay, like a car nicely got in the way there. Yeah, something like that. But do you see anyone? Ain't nobody walking. So good in theory, in practice, not many people. Okay, I see some water and I'm going to inspect, because these bits of water on the ground can make some pretty cool reflection shots, and they're quite still. So what do we get? It's always a case of, if I had another lens, go out with the 35, suddenly want the 85. Let's try it another way, because they've clocked me. So that's kind of cool. We've got like the reflection of the clouds, the buildings, but you see this like, I don't know, maybe like portrait. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Move over a bit. So what we need in that bitumen section, I feel, is like a, include the most of that tree. Yeah. So the white car, if that was like a bike or a pedestrian or something, would be kind of cool. Okay, so I've got the top of the building, bottom of the building's kind of just cut off. You know what, a good trick is you just get the reflection and then flip it upside down. It's kind of cool. So let's try that. Focus on the buildings. Car kind of turn out, which is kind of cool. That is actually pretty rad. Interesting, the car's actually in the frame neatly, and if I were to maybe flip that upside down, that is probably, that's really cool. All right, again, didn't really expect much out of that, but looks like we maybe got a banger. Capital B, A-N-G-E-R. One thing I've noticed and helps me out is not to be too precious about a shot. Sometimes it looks like it's, and you know, maybe it is going to be a really good shot, and just some days, for whatever reason, it doesn't work. You go back the next day and maybe better. Here we go. So there's some like stuff written on this wall. This is interesting. Anything that sort of feels like out of place is kind of what I'm drawn to. It's like, I feel like maybe a little bit of my own story there, just feeling a little bit out of place. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. There's this segregation by vaccination does not equal freedom. Interesting political statement, but look, eggs, again. It's like must be like some dude that either really loves eggs or... Anyway, this is interesting because we've got this like nice, clean, like some color palette here. We have like largely like a dark kind of brown, gray, like that is nice and clean. So like some people walking up that street, if I could somehow maybe, I don't want to get cars in. But anyway, back to the wall. There's some interesting like reflections going on down here. I seriously think, and it's so interesting, when I got out of the car I was like, right, I can only see that building, that sparks my interest. And then after I took that photo I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'll find anything else because I'm not really seeing much. But then, you know, it's interesting, you just start walking around and, you know, just stuff just captures your attention. It kind of looks like a face. And I guess it's a matter of perspective. You know, I had to be in this perspective for me to be able to even see these reflections, you know, and cars driving by. If I'm on the other side of the road facing a different way, it probably, you know, I'm not going to see this. So not the moral of the story is there. Maybe you got to be in it to win it, perhaps. Seems like that is also an interesting shot. You can't see it, but Q1, sort of a really tall building down here in the Gold Coast, is just right at the end there. And I reckon if I had the 70 to 200 framed up between those two palm trees, that would look pretty cool. Anyway, let's see what we can do with this reflection on this like wall. This is interesting. It's not really a, you wouldn't say it's like a reflective surface. It's kind of, it's pretty smooth, but it's doing stuff. It's reflecting. So I don't know, maybe let's see what we can get. Yeah, see, I'm losing the reflection, but I'm wondering, does it keep going? Yes, it keeps going. So okay, looked cool. I'm not, I mean, I guess you're always constrained with the focal length that you've got. And as a rule of thumb, I'm more and more trying to just have one focal length of the day. Bring in multiple lenses, I feel like just complicates the process, because I know like FOMO shows up. I'm like, if I had my 70-200 on right now, this would be amazing. But not having my 70-200 on me and only having my 35 kind of forces me to try to think about this from strictly a 35 perspective. But yeah, whatever. Yes. So, okay, this, just in terms of the elements here, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It is, I don't know, there's just something about that frame that looks kind of interesting. The color palette, perhaps? And the aperture. There's some interesting like blues, yellows, oranges going on. It's always a cool color palette, I think. And a bit of stairwell, a bit of depth. It's kind of cool. Meanwhile, this lens is like seriously cool. Alright, this is a PSA, consumerism at its finest. We waste so much shit. Not that this channel's gonna be political. It's actually just gonna be about photography. Can photography be apolitical? Well, that's up for debate, you know, but I guess that's not my motive here and intention. Okay, these buildings are pretty cool. They have been in construction for a long time. No idea when they're opening. Oh, if I had the 270, here we go. If I had the 70-200, famous last words, that would be so cool. It's all this like sea spray right down the end. 35 probably ain't gonna cut it, but that's a cool landscape. Let's make that in focus. Do you mind if I get a photo of your awesome kitty cat?
Yeah, of course.
It's like what
He's super funny. Come here.
what breed of cat is this?
Bengal.
Bengal. Wow. It's very
He really likes to be outside. Yummy. Pick your tail up. Yummy.
It's awesome.
He really likes people.
Yeah. And obviously goes well on the leash.
Hi. Yeah. He's like a dog. He really, honestly, we take him outside just because he really likes to be outside.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
so cool.
He's fine on a leash.
Yeah, awesome.
So.
Cool, thank you.
That's all right.
Enjoy the day. See ya. Oh, okay. Sun is a setting. That's kind of cool. We've got the fucking moon out. Yeah, see, like, that is interesting. Got like a star hanging out in the back. Got the power lines. There's like a dead tree. What if I can get the power line in? No. That's kind of cool. The thing I love about prime lenses is it forces you to move. Right, you can't rely on a zoom. You have to like frame the shot. And I feel like that just kind of creates a different creative process. I feel it just like simplifies everything. So here, like a nice clean backdrop, orange, some nice blue sky, car, no car. Like, meanwhile, look at these like stylish shoes. Beautifully big. Okay, so side note, one of the things I love about photography is it actually makes you slow down and pay attention to the world in a way that I don't think you would normally pick up. Like, I've never actually noticed those really styling shoes that is on that sign. So there you go. Interesting. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna like bail. It's getting a bit dark and the time to go home is now. So alright, hope you enjoyed this POV in beautiful Gold Coast, Australia. I'm going to be planning on doing a POV in Brisbane, Australia, in the city, so hopefully get some nice sort of more city style street photography. We'll have a different flavour obviously, so catch you at the next one.